Next to vote is the Honorable Senior Board Member Maria Claudette Ambida.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Secretary. Sa mapagpalang umaga po sa ating lahat. Before I proceed to my vote, I would like to subscribe to what Board Member Gozos have mentioned. May kanya-kanya po tayong interpretasyon sa mga bagay pong ito. At simula po na tayo ay naging miyembro ng Sanggunian simula 2016. Tama rin po si Bukal Balba. Ngayon lamang po nagkaroon ng nominal voting in the history of approval of resolution and ordinances sa ating pong may pangalawa na ba? Ayun, pangalawa daw pala po, so mali po si Bukal Balba. Pangalawa. But then, tama po rin yung sinabi, hindi po ito pagkakahiwa-hiwalayan ng mga bukal. Ito po ay sarili pong desisyon na gusto ko pong sabihin na wala po kaming nag-usap-usap dito. Hindi nga po namin alam kung ano ang mga boto na sasabihin po namin ngayong araw. Wala pong nag-usap-usap kung ano po ang boto ibibigay ngayong umaga. So with that, Before I proceed to my vote, I'll be spending a minute to refresh us with the timeline of the subject matter. Last September 15 to 30, it was posted at the CSC job portal. December 6, the start of assessment by the HR, Merit Promotion and Selection Board. December 12, the deliberation and the screening of the PSB, or Provincial Selection Board. Last December 15, the letter of appeal for consideration of her aspiration from Ma'am Heidi Castillo was sent in the Sangguniang Panlalawigan. December 29, the signing of the appointment as the Tourism Department Head. January 2, the oath of office of the applicant and submission of the applicant to the Sangguniang Panlalawigan. January 5, the letter of appeal again from Ma'am Heidi Castillo for the review and verification of the documents submitted. Last January 8, the matter was referred to the Committee on Human Resource. January 12, first hearing conducted by the committee head by Board Member Carlo Roman Rosales, or headed by. January 19, another committee meeting with the HR members, other board members, the admin and the legal. And now we come up to the date that the Sangguniang Panlalawigan members are about to decide on the subject matter. After 11 working days after referral to the committee on our January 8 session, we are now bound to exercise our job for the concurrence and confirmation, to which I will quote the legal representative from our meeting last January 8, that the concurrence, which is not merely ministerial but afforded with some degree of discretion. While they cannot disapprove purely out of discretion, they can should legitimate with valid basis that exists. The Sanggunian will now do their own studies after the endorsement and the presentation of documents. It is understood that our dear Governor endorses department heads by trust and confidence, as well as the Human Resource Department review application based on the papers and documents presented, and it will be on the hands of the SP or Sangguniang Panlalawigan members whether to approve or disapprove based again on the review and study of the documents and papers presented. Like in this case, that it is known to all the SP or Sangguniang Panlalawigan also received an appeal for reconsideration and to specifically review the documents, which I think with one hearing and one meeting conducted by the committee, Sangguniang Panlalawigan exerted all the effort to be fair and just to the appeal, and whether there is an appeal or no appeal, it is really the responsibility of the members to do the same. Based on the Memorandum Circular Number 4, Series of 2018, which I will not discuss anymore because it was discussed thoroughly by Board Member Attorney Gosos, all the requirements from the IRR of RA 9593, the qualifications of the tourism officer position in the LGU. This is my analysis and assessment. It is quite vague and unclear in establishing the 5-year work experience. Yes, a certification has been issued upon the request of the applicant, but the tourism-related activities also was not reflected specifically on the IPCR submitted by the applicant during her years as executive assistant, again as confirmed by the representative of human resource during the meeting. But admittedly, I just need to mention this, but with all due respect, I will accept how it was justified by the human resource representative, but not necessarily agreeing on it. Second, after the review of all the IPCRs in relation to establishing the 5-year work experience, it was found out and confirmed by the human resource that the applicant failed to submit the IPCR targets and actual accomplishment despite the efforts of the department for the applicant to comply. This is from the minutes of the meeting of the Performance Management Team dated October 28, 2022. This may not be directly related to the requirements of the CSC prior to the approval of the confirmation, but this says a lot, for the applicant is applying for the highest position in the department, considering that also from the Civil Service MC number 6 series of 2012, guidelines in the establishment and implementation of agency strategic performance management system under sanctions, performance, commitment, and review forms to the HRM office, personnel office within the specified dates shall be ground for employees' disqualification for performance-based personnel actions which would require the rating for the given period, such as promotion, training, or scholarship grants, and for performance enhancement bonus. If the failure of the submission of the report form is the fault of the employees, to which it was confirmed, again, by the human resource, that the applicant didn't receive any performance bonus because of the non-submission of the IPCR. And again, it was stated by the human resource that they have exerted all the efforts to communicate the matter to the applicant. For item number 4, related matters, legal representatives in the January 19 committee meeting stated that the department that the memorandum circular is referring to is the Department of Tourism. And the training stated were, as mentioned again by Board Member Gosos a while ago, including the number of hours, the mandatory training, referring to all the training submitted in the personal data sheet signed under oath. There is no training listed that is conducted by the Department of Tourism. Given that if ever the department will not require the completion of all the listed trainings, if I may mention that those listed trainings, again, not conducted by the DOT, also lacks training of hours. Seminar on Disaster Risk Reduction Management, 24 hours versus 20 hours submitted. Basic Tourism Statistic Training, 32 hours versus 16 hours submitted. Seminar on Gender and Development Orientation, 8 hours versus 3 hours submitted, which on my assessment, again, based on our own judgment and analysis, cannot even be considered as substantially complied. Again, under trainings, Department of Tourism did take part on all the trainings submitted. Again, and I would like to reiterate, the applicant is seeking for the highest position in the department, that be it, if she will be in position, she will be handling so many employees under the PTCAO, which I may assume have more trainings than those who will lead the department. So, it was also mentioned by HR that according to the applicant, it was agreed that there will be continuous training for those that were not complied. But let us remember that all trainings listed are requirements and basis for the confirmation, meaning, for my understanding, it is a prerequisite. Having such trainings are very vital. Again, for the position being applied is the head of the department that will require highest level of knowledge, experience, skills, and competency level tourism-related activities or trainings. Having said all those, I would like to reiterate that I have high respect to our governor. I am fully trusting and still confident on his decisions. It just so happened that we were given the right to exercise our legislative power, to concur, and to do what we are tasked, as well as to further study, review, and decide based on our judgment to refresh us on our January 19 committee meeting after the presentation of documents, rebuttals, and questions. The legal department representatives, when asked if the applicant is still qualified for the position, the answer was no. As of the HR asked twice if the applicant is qualified, their answer was yes. But when I asked them after all the documents and arguments presented in the hearing, would they still stand firm that it is a yes, then the human resource representative invoked the right to remain silent, which for me also says a lot. In a confirmation of an applicant, we must say that all the qualifications and none of the disqualifications must be considered, and was as what reflected after again the endorsement and what transpired on the committee hearing and meeting. I have cited all the essential requirements not met by the applicant, confirmed by the resource speakers present during the hearing and the meeting. On this regard, notwithstanding the statement of the legal department, it is right and just that we follow all the set requirements. So for now, I am voting no for the confirmations since there are major requirements that are not met, trainings required, not forgetting the non-submission of IPCR that inhibits the applicant from the grant of bonus and promotion. Yes, it underwent long process of selection, but the matters raised by yours truly and some of the members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan were not touched in the process of the selection. And assessment, again, by the human resource, said that they accepted the application and endorsement based on the documents presented and by the trust and confidence of the governor. Yet again, it is our duty, the members of the Sanggunian, to review and study again the documents and papers submitted. With all due respect to the governor, kindly accept my apology, dear governor, that for now, I know he will fully understand that we are free to decide on the matter based on our studies and judgment. And again, this not necessarily mean a lessened belief in his wisdom and decision. And with all due respect to all the members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, with all the years that we've been together, it's just now that we are dividing the house for our own interpretation and for our own decision. That's why rest assured that what Board Member Balba have mentioned, this will not cause any division. We may be divided in terms of the voting, but division in terms of our relationship, I don't think it will happen for all of us. And with all due respect, again, whatever will be the result of this votation and division of the House, it's just here in the session hall. Matatapos na po aming termino, matatapos na po halos lahat kami. Hindi po ito ang makakapaghiwa-hiwalay sa pagtuturingan namin po bilang mga magkakapatid. And again, with all due respect, the decision of the members, for all the members, as well as their own interpretation and confirmation, in the concurrence of the applicant. Again, my vote is no.
Okay, thank you, our senior board member, Honorable Katrin Ambida, for the